This is Fight Fans Radio.
All right, guys, we are back. So I could hear myself talking, so I apologize if you guys could hear me echoing. This is a real issue, and we're lagging. All right, perfect. So, all right, we're here back once again live with Christophe.
Deferme.
Deferme. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. This is what I am famous for.
No problem.
So, Christophe, so people not know about who you are, maybe you could retell us, you were just talking with us, tell us where you're originally from and where you are now calling from.
Okay. I'm originally from Belgium in Europe, which is in the center of Europe, and I'm now calling you from León, Mexico, a city in the center of Mexico.
That's unbelievable. Two very different cultures, different parts of the world.
Exactly.
Did you train in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back in Europe?
Yeah, sure. I always did martial arts. I started doing martial arts when I was a teenager, when I was 15 years old. And I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
How did you get into
and I haven't stopped.
How did you get into the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, I went through different kinds of martial arts, most of them being stand-up martial arts, and I made a friend who did traditional jiu-jitsu, in which they had a part which was the ground fighting, but much less elaborate than Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So he told me about this, and we started training amongst ourselves. And we went to a seminar that a team in Belgium was organizing with a black belt, a Brazilian black belt, and we fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ever since. I went to train in that team. My friend continued with his group, and he found another black belt who was teaching in Holland at the time to give him seminars and to help him like that. And well, we took two different ways in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he just recently got his black belt in Brazil.
Wow, that's a pretty cool story. Yourself, we just recently had one of our absolute best interviews that the BJJ ADDICT RADIO has ever done with Felipe Costa. How did you get in touch with being able to train under his banner and also Braza?
Well, the team that I joined was Gracie Barra at the time, because they were under a black belt that now has his team in the United States, who is Kazeka Muniz, and they persuaded him to come to Europe and to stay there full time and train them, which was at the time in the place which was unique. There was only black belts coming for seminars, but there was nobody staying there. So that team became very good. But after, I think I joined them, and after 8 months, they decided to stop working with him for whatever reason they had. So there were only my teachers, who were two blue belts, two brothers, and they looked for somebody else to guide them technically. And Felipe just won the world championship, and I think that he gave a seminar in the United States, or he stayed there for a long time, and via they got to him and they invited him for a seminar, and they liked it so much because my teachers are more or less of the same size. They're very small and very light, so they liked his technique so much that they decided to invite him. Well, we invited him 2-3 times a year, and like that, as a white belt, we started training with him, and he was basically our technical director, and we were doing pretty well, and my teachers were blue belts, and there were a couple of other teams in Belgium and Holland and Germany that had purple belts, higher belts as teachers, At one point, there was a black belt that went to live in Holland and who had a couple of teams under him. And our team in competitions were winning of students of those other teams, so we were doing pretty well. And I like to think that it's for a big part, if not the biggest part, thanks to the way Felipe guided us.
You've been in jiu-jitsu long enough, being brown belt. You've seen everything, or a lot of things. What are some things that in your career that it's you're kind of scared of, but like what are your fears so far before getting your black belt?
Before getting my black belt, my fears?
Yes.
You mean as a fighter, as a teacher, or as just a general practitioner of jiu-jitsu?
Just general, yes.
Well, I opened my academy here in Mexico, and obviously your fear is always that you train so long and then one day you will be, or that the young generation will be so technical, so strong, so fast that all your experience has almost no value. I think that's a fear that I have, but that's something that you keep training for, and that's something that you keep competing for to keep improving and to not fall behind, because I can see that everything is going very fast in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and at least that's my impression, that the technical level of the fighters and also the physical level is growing every year, and you really have to be an amazing athlete these days to become a champion. And I think the level in general in the world is rising tremendously. I remember when I was a white belt that we went to a competition in Germany, which was the biggest competition of Germany, which is a much bigger country than Belgium, and all the teachers and all the guys there were blue belts, and all the higher belts in blue were Brazilians visiting. There were a couple of black belts there who were visiting, doing seminars in Europe, who came to the competition. And then all of a sudden we saw a European guy with a purple belt. If I'm not mistaken, he was Swiss or German, one of the two. And I remember that everybody looked at him like, wow, a European guy with a purple belt. And now there's so many really good high-level black belts from Europe. So it's all going amazingly fast. It's evolving a lot.
Yeah, what's one thing about the current state of jiu-jitsu that you find different from when you started?
Well, I think that these days the last 2 years I've been going to the Pan Ams, and I'm competing nationally and locally, but I'm also trying to go to these competitions, and I have the impression that besides the fact that everybody is very, very technical, I have the impression that it's more athleticism, that all the champions are great athletes now. It's almost impossible to become a champion if you're not really fit and if you're really well-rounded, which I for my impression was different some 10 years ago.
How important is it to cross-train in other martial arts, such as judo and wrestling?
Well, to be honest, I've never done that. Judo is something that is very strong in Europe, and I have a lot of friends who rolled into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coming from judo. But it's actually pretty funny. Me, myself, I'm a guard jumper. I like to go, not to waste too much time on my feet and to go to the ground immediately to try to win the fight there. But a lot of people that I know in Europe have come to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from judo backgrounds. And I remember when I was a blue belt that there was a big discussion going on in Belgium and Holland in some of the forums that the judo guys said that guard jumping was gay, that they didn't like it at all because they saw it as a way of avoiding the stand-up game, which in some way it could be. But in judo, if you have a good throw, you have won the fight, while in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu you have 2 points and probably a very good position, but you didn't win yet. So they felt a little bit frustrated, I imagine, for having trained judo so long and not being able to do it. And obviously in this discussion I was putting my part, defending the guard jump and saying how effective it was and how it led to the game on the ground where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belonged, according to me. And I remember that in many competitions, a lot of people wanted to see them do some strong judo on me, but it's very difficult. If I think a judo game is very important, if the two, or a good wrestling game is very important, if the two people fight for those 2 points to do a takedown or to do a throw. But if one of the two wants to skip that part and goes for a guard jump, I think it's very difficult to do it. So I never focused too much on that. I focused on my ground game. But I'm guessing if you want to be a world-class athlete, you have to include that in your game.
Well put. It is quite a hot topic sometimes if guard pulling is bad or if you should go for a takedown. I'm impartial personally, but I'm glad you touched on that a bit. It's nice to hear a different view for sure. Unfortunately, we're coming close to time. We have to let you go. We're running a little behind. But what's some last words you could give to people? Maybe, want to reach a level that you're at as far as being a brown belt. Obviously, you stuck around in this sport, which could sometimes mentally abuse you. Obviously, it's physically taxing. You do have a school also. So for the people starting off with a dream of reaching some of those goals, what's some advice you could give them, Christophe?
Well, you basically just said it. What I always say to my students is never give up. Maybe you have a bad day, a bad week, even a bad month in training, but the ones who, well, it's very cliche and everybody in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu already heard it a million times, but the black belts or the white belts that never gave up. So it's just that, and you cannot be demotivated if somebody else does better than you or if you're trying a technique and you cannot do it. I think the beauty of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that, like Felipe said in his interview last time, that for many sports you have to be a really talented guy and a really physically fit guy to become very high level. But in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's always a way. The Jiu-Jitsu adapts to your body and to your style, and you don't have to adapt to the Jiu-Jitsu, but you have to give it the time to grow on you. So that would be it. Never give up.
I love it. Let's end it on that note. Christophe, how about we have you back on the show when you receive the precious black belt?
It would be my honor. I'm sure that Felipe will keep you posted, and if not, I'll let you guys know.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Good luck with the show.
Thank you.
All right, there. So, what's going on?
I don't know. I'm excited. We're a little
behind. I feel like we're back on pace. All right, enough with this banter.
Let's do it.
Miss Erica Lewis. For people that don't know, Erica Lewis, she's the mastermind behind Fight Fans Radio. She is the puppeteer. She is the CEO. She is the godmother. She is the queen of all queens. I don't know how many more aliases I can give her. So let's get into this. And Erica, can you please call Mr. David Aguzzi?
Yep.
Is next. Yes. Oh. Yeah, we want... All right, hold on one second, folks. Sorry for this awkward pause. Yeah, all right, we're going to have a change of plans. David Aguzzi can wait. We have Daniel Strauss. He's calling in from the UK. Let's put him on. Let's do this. All right, Jared, you ready?
People are punctual. I like it.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Welcome to BJJ ADDICT Radio.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So, the time change difference, you are very off from where we are. What time is it over there?
It's 12:30, midnight.
So, really, it's Wednesday right now?
Yeah, it's Wednesday, yeah.
Wow, thank you for staying up to speak with us. It's
No
much
problem.
appreciated.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so for people that don't know who you are, can you let them know, obviously we know your name, Dan Strauss, but whereabouts you train and who's that affiliated with?
My name's Dan Schuss, as you said. I'm a brown belt under Roger Gracie. But I actually I train in North London at a gym called Mill Hill BJJ, which is like an affiliate academy of Rogers. And my instructor Nick Brooks is a black belt under Roger, and I got my brown belt from Roger.
This Roger guy, is he pretty good?
He's he's not too bad. He's not too bad. I hear he has a good top game and decent mount and stuff, I've heard.
Have you had the pleasure, obviously, even though you're an affiliate, have you had the pleasure with training with him on occasions?
I've had a bit of a role with him a couple of times, and luckily he's been quite nice to me at the time. So,
has he ever ripped your gi?
No, he hasn't. No.
I guess you're lucky.
Yeah, he has a habit of doing that.
Yes. So have you always trained in the UK? And with this gym, how did your journey all begin?
Yeah, no, yeah, I have. I've started training. You know, I was always looking around for different martial arts. Really, I kind of as a kid, growing up, I was trying to get into different martial arts, and I tried pretty much every martial art there is, and didn't really stick with any. Didn't really enjoy them too much. And I started training at this. It was a Japanese jiu-jitsu place. When I started going, I went there for a couple of months. And then one of the instructors left, and Nick took over, and he actually, he'd already been training BJJ for a little while. He's a blue belt under Roger at the time. Kind of had his eyes. He was a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu, and he'd had his eyes kind of opened, and stopped training Japanese jiu-jitsu, and then kind of changed the direction of the club to pure BJJ. And I was lucky enough. Nick's pretty highly regarded as one of the best instructors in the country. So I was very lucky to start with him, and I've been with him the entire time.
Is this Nick from the Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood?
No, that's Nick G. No, it's Nick Brooks. Is I know.
Oh, sorry.
G as well, but yeah, no, Nick Brooks is Mill Hill BJJ. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Out of all the martial arts that you've ever done, why is it that you've stuck around for jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu long enough compared to all the other martial arts?
It's a good question. I just think that it's kind of like an unexplainable thing that kind of I just felt when I started doing the grappling and I started rolling and kind of, you do all of the different, I don't know, like I did Kung Fu and you were doing katas and, and karate and even Japanese jiu-jitsu, no one's resisting. And then suddenly you get told, basically, you can't, there's certain things that you can't do, but pretty much go and do whatever you want and roll around. And I don't know, I just found the appeal in that, and stuck with it since. And
I looked into you a bit before we even reached out for you, and you're regarded as one of the absolute best brown belts out of the UK. Do you feel pressure when other people put this type of title to your name?
I don't know pressure so much. Kind of, I do feel, when you start competing and you've got no pressure, there's, your nerves that you have before a competition, or kind of when you feel like you're training, you're kind of just training for yourself, and you're nervous and worried about kind of, just doing the best for yourself. But when you start kind of getting up in the ranks, everyone is expecting you to do well and expecting you to win this, and expect you to make it look easy, and kind of you're inside kind of going, well, now I've got to kind of almost just show that, and then I knew. Everyone's saying, "Oh, I knew you were going to win," and I'm like, "Well, I wasn't so sure myself." But yeah, it's cool to kind of be. I think it motivates me to keep training really, really hard, and even if I didn't want to, I go, you know what, I kind of everyone's expecting me to, so I better go do
it. There's been talks to doing the Lloyd Irvin BJJ brown belt kumite. Are you involved in this, or was this just talks?
It was an interesting thing with the Lloyd Irvin BJJ kumite, but basically I got told by my friend Ollie Geddes. He messaged me on Facebook and he said, do you want to fight Keenan Cornelius? So I said, yeah, I'll be up for fighting Keenan Cornelius. He's one of the top guys, so I'm pretty much ready to throw down with whoever. So he said, go on to Lloyd Irvin's page, and he was advertising. He wanted to do a no time limit, submission only grappling tournament to fight Keenan. I was, excited. I like the whole concept of no time limits. Just going for submission, kind of pure BJJ. And then I think Kit Dale was the first person to be picked, and then I was picked, and Dara from Ireland was picked, and then kind of it started to kind of snowball a bit and get a bigger, and he started kind of taking reps from all different countries. And it got to a stage where it was becoming, it was no longer you were fighting Keenan, you were now fighting to fight against Keenan. So I was pretty much, I was ready to go and do it, and unfortunately, I've been having some back injury for the pretty much the whole of the year that I've kind of managed to work around, and I had two big tournaments just before, in the last couple of months, and I was feeling all right and kind of expecting to have a break after that. And then this thing came up, so I started training again, and my back got worse and worse. So unfortunately, I had to pull out of the event, which is unfortunate. But I just think with the format that they were doing it by the end, with it was going to be like maybe 4 fights. I don't know exactly how they were going to do it, but it was going to be a lot of fighting. It was going to be a lot of a really tough time, and just in the state that my back was in, I wasn't able to do that, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your back heals up.
Cheers.
You compete often, right?
Not as much as I'd like to. In the last year, I've only done I've done one super fight and 2 tournaments. I took pretty much. I only had one fight in the kind of a year after I fought in the ADCC last year, but that was mainly to do with my injured back.
On average, if you could estimate, how many fights do you think you've had throughout being a white belt to brown belt?
I would say probably 120, 130, roughly.
Now, in 130 fights, do you still have a sense of nervousness when you compete on the mats? And when you do, what do you do to kind of relieve that stress from your mind?
I think nerves is a really interesting subject when it comes to competition. You get some people who don't really get any nerves at all. Some people who kind of get completely destroyed by nerves and really can't. There's some people out there who can never really perform to their best because they're so kind of just burdened down with fear and with nerves or whatever, and it just kills them. I think it changes from every fight. I've had some tournaments where I've been very, very relaxed. Obviously, the bigger the tournament or the pressure, the harder the training's been. You kind of get more and more nerves. But I don't know. I wouldn't really call it nerves so much. You kind of, it's adrenaline. You've got to use that adrenaline, to help your performance. You can let it help you, or you can kind of, let it destroy you. So you've got to kind of focus that adrenaline in the right direction.
I agree. That's very smart thing. Adrenaline could tear your whole game up. You're a brown belt. When you started as a white belt, you kind of look at a black belt like an impossible feat. You're creeping ever closer. Does this ever kick in and you see who you're about to face at your tournaments when you're a black belt?
Totally. The belt has never been something that I've never been a belt chaser. I've never been someone trying to get to the next belt. I've just thought, you just, in jiu-jitsu, if you're always looking, there are some people who, really want their next stripe, and they really want their blue belt, and they really want their purple belt, and they're kind of just focused on the belt. But I think the whole beauty of jiu-jitsu in that there's no gradings or anything. You're not working towards on this day I'm going to go and grade for my brown belt or whatever, because you kind of it's really organic. You just get it whenever you're ready. I think you need to forget about kind of hunting the belts and just worry about making your jiu-jitsu the best it can be, and then the belts just come. But yeah, with I've fight mainly, well, not mainly, but more recently mainly no-gi tournaments and advanced divisions. So I've been able to fight with quite a few black belts with mixed success. I'm sure most people will. But yeah, I've always wanted to fight the best. I've always, even as a purple belt, as a blue belt, I was fighting. As a purple belt, I fought in quite a few tournaments where I was up against black belts, and I really, really enjoyed that because, some tournaments you go to, you fight in the purple belt division, you win your division, and then you look around and there's brown and black belts, and you kind of go, well, it's not really my day. It's the black belt's day. He's the best guy, in the room, and when you get to go and do an advanced division tournament and you can compete against the best, and then you win, you can say, I'm the best in the room today.
How important is it, before we let you go, to have fun while rolling or training and not being so serious all the time?
Well, if you're too serious about jiu-jitsu, about being really serious when you're rolling, it can kind of take enjoyment out of it. And if you take the enjoyment out of it, it's more work. And if it's work, the whole thing about BJJ is that it's very enjoyable, it's fun, and it's interesting. That's why people do it. There's very few people who do jiu-jitsu a little bit. Most people who do jiu-jitsu do it a lot because it kind of is so enjoyable. So, if you get too serious, and you can ruin that a little bit. But then, you have different people who can, who train and compete. So, the guy who's going to be going there 2 or 3 times a week just to go and have some fun and stay in shape is going to be a little bit more chilled out than someone who's, trying to raise up through the ranks and almost make a career out of it. So there's times for seriousness and there's times for just having some fun and enjoying it.
I agree. So unfortunately, we have to let you go. But like I say to all our black belts, hopefully we can get you back on this show when you receive your black belt and we could talk some more about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy your night. And I really appreciate you staying up this late to speak to us.
Anytime.
All right, guys, moving along. Next up, we got the, for you that don't know, the always controversial David Aguzzi. He's already revved up because we just bumped him for Mr. Daniel Strauss. I'm sure he's got something to say about it. So I'm actually kind of really excited to hear what David's got to say. Let's call up David Aguzzi. He was talking to Jared on the Facebook, and he was letting Jared know what's up. Oh, the dreaded ring.
Last two didn't have any rings.
That's true. We're calling in. Sure. The clock's kicking in, folks. Ooh, maybe he doesn't want to talk to us now.
That would be.
What's up, guys?
All right, maybe he does want to talk to us. So, welcome to the BJJ Addict Radio.
Thanks, guys, for having me on, as always.
No problem. I hope you don't take it as a personal shot that we had to bump you.
The Brit over in London couldn't stay up that late. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same time zone. It's only 7:45. You're still wide awake.
Yeah, I'm still wide awake.
That's it. So,
I'll be up all night because I have to work with the other side of the world, right?
That's right.
Unlike some people, I don't go to bed. So.
You're in Montreal at the moment?
I am in Montreal. I was in Toronto this past weekend for the grappling class in London.
All right.
And now I'm back in
how was it
Montreal
working that
working on final
one?
exams.
Darson Hemmings beat Mark Ramos in the super fight.
Yeah, that's a super fight. It was purple belt. It was no gi. It's Darson Hemmings. Darson Hemmings having a super fight. It's kind of controversial, but it is what it is, man.
All right, I'm going to just stop this topic because the only thing I care about speaking about tournaments with you, even though you brought this one up, just so you know, is obviously the Montreal Grappling, the Toronto Grappling, the Grappling Company. But before we talk about this, I'm going to dangle over your head because I know you don't want to talk about yourself, but let the people know at least that you train at probably one of the most famous gyms. Everybody wants to be there right now. So let everyone know where you train.
I'm training out of Concordia University, working on my mind, learning how to read, how to write, how to make proper arguments, how to cut out the drama. But, honestly, I'm training out of a TriStar gym. Yeah, I guess it's a place where people want to be, but I mean, there's plenty of great gyms in the world. People should just take advantage of their training and they'll be good themselves.
I agree. It's good to take advantage of other gyms also, but TriStar right now is the hot spot. But
absolutely.
Moving on from this, let's get on to you, but in a whole different manner. Let's move away from Concordia also. You happen to run one of the most enjoyable tournaments, and I'm not just saying this because we have you on the show, the most enjoyable tournaments that I've ever been to. Can we talk about this for a bit?
Sure. Obviously, I'm the co-promoter, co-owner, co-founder of Grappling Industries. My partner, of course, is Matthew Konoe, one of the probably brilliantest people I know as far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He knows the game inside out as far as the rules, as far as the setup, as far as how to produce a Jiu-Jitsu tournament. He's really, really, really the best partner you could have on a project like this. And basically our tournament is committed to creating like this enabling environment, like conducive to like the development of jiu-jitsu and no-gi and submission wrestling, and we're trying to develop, like encourage and like maximize these opportunities for grapplers and all competitors to like participate, you know, in like this pursuit of greatness. And yeah, basically we're doing this with like this round robin format.
Montreal. You've
basically
expanded
people
to,
don't have to get one or two fights,
Toronto,
they can get 3 or 4 fights. And it just keeps getting better from there, you know. From the 4 fights, they can win trips. The more trips we give away, the more people seem to get excited about it. It's not like we're just gonna have a tournament and you're gonna win a medal or something. I mean, I'm not trying to say that controversially. I'm saying that as a tournament, we're making money. Tournaments make money. That's the reality of it. And those tournaments have to spend that money on something. Might as well give back to the grapplers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, sometimes it's nice to win a medal, but I mean, if you're gonna win a trip,
no, I mean, medals are important there. You know?
Is there plans to expand in other cities other than Montreal and Toronto?
We are in the works currently. I don't really want to give too much away, but we're working with a black belt in New York and a black belt and a very popular brown belt in Boston. And our plan is to try to have tournaments in New York and Boston the same way as we have tournaments in Montreal and Toronto, and basically expand our tournament to the whole Northeast, and then try to build our foundation there and start to move out from there. You know, it's like every city is very similar. They all have these single elimination tournaments. They all have a Grappler's Quest. They all have a NAGA, and they all have an IBJJF. And at the end of the day, someone has to come along and be like the savior and give away the trips, you know, because people want to go to the big tournaments, but none of these other tournaments are going to give it. So it's like we're spending money to compete, to build our records. The records don't mean anything unless you win the big tournaments. So to get the big tournaments, you need to get sponsored. No one's going to sponsor you. Let's be real about that. And at least if you win our tournament, you're going to get that opportunity. It's like every city we go to, and we pitch this idea to them, they get so excited. It's like, oh my God, like a tournament really, really wants to give something to us. I mean, it's astonishing. People are shocked, you know.
Your tournaments when they're run, it's a minimum of 4 fights. A lot of other tournaments don't have that. They only have, like, you know, single elimination. Do you think more tournaments should have that format, or what's your view on that?
You know, in Montreal's like a smaller city as far as the market for jiu-jitsu than other cities. So when we started going to like Toronto, and now that we want to go to like other cities like Boston and New York and Chicago, and it keeps going on, like cities we want to expand to. But to go to these cities and to actually run a round robin tournament is not that easy. Because to run a round robin tournament, you would have to have everything organized to the point of an extremity, to an optimum almost. in a way that, like, you would have to run almost 3 times the number of fights in a single elimination tournament. And I don't think people realize that at all. People don't realize that whatsoever, that running a round-robin tournament includes a lot more matches for the organizers, for the referees, for the staff, for the bracketing. And to run something like that, you need to have the space to run it, which means you can't run it in a small gym. You can't run it in a small venue. You need a massive venue. Not only do you need a massive venue, but you need a lot of rings, a lot of mats, so you can run more fights. In Toronto, we ran 1,300 fights on 11 mats, and that was in 10 hours, and we thought it was slow, and people thought it was fast. I mean, it's crazy. So next, like, Toronto event, we're running 14 mats, and this way we can run the round-robin system much faster. And yeah, I think it is important if other tournaments start to give away fights, because that's what people are paying for. People are paying for those extra fights. They don't care about the medals. They don't even care about the trips. They don't care about the free T-shirts. They don't care about anything besides the fact that they're training that day for that day to fight in that tournament. That's the main thing. They want to fight in the tournament. So why aren't we giving them more fights? Because we're too lazy to give them the extra fights to run a tournament longer? I mean, come on. Like, I guess the only reason other tournaments haven't been doing it is because it's going to be a longer day, and you need more mats to run such a thing. A lot of tournaments are running like 8 to 10 mats. They're not interested in running 14 mats. To run 14 mats, you need like 20, 22 referees. That's a lot of money to hire for a day, man.
That's a good point you bring up. Without sounding like I'm just riding on you and agreeing with everything, one thing as a competitor that I do care about is that just from going to your tournaments, because I'm not someone who wins a lot of matches. So for me to have 4 matches in a year, that might take 4 full tournaments, which sometimes adds up to a couple $100. In one day at your tournament, I did 7 matches, and right there, that seemed like a year's worth of competition for me. So, I mean, it does add up if we keep doing your formats. So you do get the experience that you need to become a better grappler. So I think that's a big plus.
I think one of the weird things about getting the extra fights at our tournament was that you probably paid half the money to actually compete in the tournament.
How much are your tournaments for the people that don't know?
For the whole time we've ever ran tournaments, it's been $50. Starting in the new year, it's going up to $60. There's a lot of reasons why it's going up to $60. It's called inflation and cash flow. It's called we're giving away more stuff and we're having a bigger production. And all due respect, charging $60 instead of $50, I mean, we're still one of the lower price tournaments. We're not, any of those big tournaments, we're not charging anywhere near the price of them. And we're actually giving away a lot more than them. So, I mean, in reality, I mean, it just shows off how the other promoters are doing things a little differently than we are. I mean, they want to run one big event a year, and we're trying to run like 20 big events a year. It's 2 completely different things we're trying to do.
Nice. You were the first. You guys really put a lot into giving the people that are at the tournament cool things. Like I got to witness some really great super fights. Has there been any big names that were supposed to compete, maybe that never happened in within the last year that you could tell us about now that it fell through? Any major names that were supposed to do super fights?
Honestly, none worth talking about, because if it fell through, then they obviously don't deserve to be talked about.
But is there any names that you are really want to bring to the fans to see live? What would be some dream super fights that you would love to set up?
Until recently, like I know at the beginning of this conversation you asked me about Darson and Mark Ramos, and I've had really like a huge shift since then, I guess. I don't know. I really don't think we'd be interested in hosting super fights anymore, to be honest. Our tournaments draw pretty big names. At the last Toronto tournament, we had Fernando Vieira fight. I mean, obviously, I know you're hunting for the name Dennis Kang. Like Dennis Kang was supposed to have a super fight with Daniel Tastos last event. Daniel Tastos is fighting this week this upcoming week in Enter the Bulldog. And Dennis Kang, of course, tore his MCL a month before the super fight with Daniel Tastos. So that sucks. But at the same time, super fights, unless you're going to have two world-class black belts, why have them doing a super fight? Why have two brown belts doing a super fight? And I'm not taking away from them. I'm not taking away from any of these people. But at the same time, as promoters, we have to expect these people to be huge draws. They have to bring people from their gym. And if they don't bring people from their gym, why are we putting them in front of everybody? You know, because we expect them to get people from other gyms? I mean, if they can't bring people from their own gym, how are we going to get people from other gyms to come watch them? And then there's the fact that when you have a super fight, you have to educate everybody about these super fighters. Do you know how hard it is to educate someone about a purple belt who does jiu-jitsu in Montreal or Toronto? I mean, it's so hard, man. And then we have to spend money on it and marketing. And then half the time for super fights, no matter who promotes a super fight, half the time, like a week before, someone drops out. I mean, obviously people are not serious about doing jiu-jitsu, professional jiu-jitsu. And that's okay, but I mean, when you have like elite purple belts, elite brown belts, and elite black belts in your own tournament competing for your trips, why do you have to do super fights? I mean, the best fighters are already fighting in our tournament. I don't see the point of having a super fight.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
really that's how
news right
IBJJF
here, live
might
on
feel.
BJJ Radio. No more super fights. You know, I still hope you have a super fight, though. I'm a huge fan of them. I'm really hoping for, single class black belts. Aguzzi, we are running out of time. Your time's almost up. So one more question. Joel here is going to ask you, and then time's up.
What was the reason behind opening up these tournaments in Montreal as large as yours? What was the reason behind it?
Man, I have no idea why. I would really have to ask Matthew why we started this, because it was so long ago, and it just feels like so many moons ago that it doesn't really know. Like, I don't know, man. It just felt right. I mean, one night me and Matthew said, I asked a lot of people to help me do work on a tournament, and a lot of people told me no. And a lot of people said tournaments were stupid. And a lot of people said the idea was stupid. And then I came to Matthew, and I asked Matthew, and Matthew thought the idea was brilliant. And then me and Matthew went, like, partners, and we built this big thing, and it just developed from there. I mean, there was never an excuse for it. I mean, at the time in Montreal, I guess the reason, actually, at the time in Montreal, there was no jiu-jitsu. There was only one tournament a year in Montreal, and that was the World Pro Jiu-Jitsu Trials, held by Fabio Holanda. There was nothing else. IBJJF had not occurred yet in Montreal. There was no NAGA. There was no Grappler's Quest. And then when we came in, that was it. Everyone embraced us. We were the first jiu-jitsu tournament to actually promote real jiu-jitsu in Montreal, using real rules and real prizes from real sponsors. I mean, it was just a real jiu-jitsu tournament finally happening in Montreal, something that has never happened besides maybe the World Trials. Maybe that's why we started. I'm not too sure. Maybe we just love jiu-jitsu, you know? Everyone finds a different path in jiu-jitsu, you know? Some people want to be black belts, and some people want to own gyms, you know? For us, we want to run a tournament. And we want to run a tournament everywhere in the world, and it's quite an interesting idea. Not many people try to think about that one, but I guess that's why we thought about it.
Amazing. I really hope you accomplish the goals that you set out to do. I really enjoy doing your tournaments. I really enjoyed speaking with you today. For those that don't know you, you're actually a pretty funny guy. You got a weird sense of humor. And thanks for coming on our show. My mother calls it
morbid.
And
we'll see you in Montreal.
Yeah. David, I'm sorry if I was talking over you. I had a hard time hearing you sometimes when you were speaking, so I wasn't trying to be rude, just so you know.
That's not a problem.
All right. Thanks for calling in, man. We'll see you at the Montreal Grappling.
See you later.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So moving along, our next guest will be AJ Agazarm. What did I say his name wrong, of course?
Agazarm.
Agazarm. Out in Tampa, Florida. I don't know if that's where he is currently, so we're about to find out. We'll call him up right now. Yeah, let's keep this rolling, guys. I'm having a blast right now. Let's call AJ up. Jared, where are you? Yeah, here you are.
Your call has...
All right, guys. So AJ did not pick up his phone, and that's all right. We'll move on right now, and we'll talk about something for a second. We'll try calling him back. I know we messed up a little bit of the times with the delay and different people calling in. So, I mean, that's expected here and there when we try to set up with 8 people, so no big deal. At the start of the show last time, we had to cut out. I don't know if people heard, but we were announcing a couple things. Kenzie Byrne got her black belt from the hands of her father, Megatone. That's such a great thing for women's BJJ to have her competing now at black belt. She's a beast on the mats.
Yeah.
So shout out to her. Should we just get right into trying to call AJ again, you think?
Let's do it.
All right, let's try to call him once more.
Once more.
We might have to loop him back in later, so it's pretty funny. How did we say we're going to call him?
Some 40.
Yeah. All right, that's no big deal. We're a little behind.
Just like in jiu-jitsu, if you don't time it right, you might miss.
Just like in jiu-jitsu. That's a classic bad joke going on right there.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
You know what's really funny is if I just start leaving him a message with some interview questions. I'm sure everyone would like that. It'd be weird when he answers the phone, check his messages out, and he's got a full interview thing on his phone. You know what, everybody? It's 8:05. We got our friend coming out of class very soon, so we're just going to talk here for a bit, and then we will call up Thomas Beach in 5 minutes and speak to him. So for now, I'm just going to sit around, talk to Jared. I know you guys don't mind hearing our voices. At least I hope by now that you guys enjoy us just a bit, and it's not just all about the guests sometimes.
Yeah.
The last time we did our own episodes, it was early on. We never broke 100 together.
It was like 45 or something.
No, we're in the 70s and 80s, but like just a Jared and Dave episode has never broke 100. So I'm thinking in 2013, you and me, we purposely don't book a guest. We announced to everyone, hey, this Tuesday, no guest.
Yeah.
And just you and me have a little D&M, man, a deep and meaningful conversation.
D&M?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to some people, they're like, oh, man, I like the conversations that you two have.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't know.
What don't you know?
Algebra.
At the moment, are you intoxicated that way? Be honest. Are you drunk? Because I'm listening to you and I'm right beside you. I'm looking at you, and you seem a little loopier than usual.
A little off. Yes. Yeah.
Were you drinking today?
I was with a friend, and
You had a couple.
I had a bunch.
So when you say a bunch, is this a bunch too many or a bunch?
A bunch too few. That's.
No, man. So you're feeling good right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. As you probably know, I've been back in a regular training. I've been working a lot, and I had my first day off in like a long, long time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks maybe.
Okay.
So,
how do you feel to come back, man? Everything. Like, this is just shit we always struggle with. You take a day off. Is it like riding a bike, or is that expression stupid?
I don't know. I think sometimes it's good to treat yourself because, you're busy. It's good to de-stress and just not be, I think, it's not always good to take things seriously. And, for me, I like to have fun and replenish, what's the word you call it? The hunger for more jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Get the fire back burning.
Yeah, so, it was a little treat for me.
How about you ask our viewers here, how about you ask them a question to the answer on our Facebook?
What was the question?
You asked the question.
Oh, yeah. I asked on BJJ ADDICT Radio, if you could choose 3 people who you could train with, who would they be? Me and Dave both answered Marcos Terragrossa. Big shout outs to you. Hope to see you in March. I said Marcos Terragrossa, the Mendez brothers. I count them as one people because, man, they're good. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen their videos on YouTube, but, man, their school, they opened up a school not too long ago, I think, and it's all white. So when you see the videos, it's like too bright to watch. Yeah, it looks like heaven. And I think the last one was Iotera, because, sometimes I'm a small dude, so it's not fun to grapple Robert Drysdale or the bigger dudes.
Did you just name Robert Drysdale?
I didn't name Robert Drysdale.
Speaking of that, how important do you think it is being a smaller person, training with small guys sometimes?
I think it's important because, you never truly, because you're working so much harder when you're working with bigger guys, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know, if do your techniques work with smaller people who are more mobile with their hips.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that big guys, well, I'm not talking about black belts, brown belts, but I'm talking people, at my level.
Yeah.
They don't, their hips don't move the same as smaller people because I don't think they need to. And
that's well put.
Yeah.
That's well put. Yeah, for everyone at home, the list they're named, I wasn't directly involved. I agree with the Kyle Terra part. I love the Mendez brothers and Marcos Terragrossa. I think my 3 would be a little bit different. Even maybe Kyle Terra when I'm not too sure.
What would it be?
My 3? Hobson Mora.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Felipe Costa, and I'm not saying that just because he was on last week.
Ooh.
If you're noticing the trend, they are tiny people.
And you're one weight category.
Yeah, I'm actually heavier than these guys though, but I don't know. Kyle Terra might be 3, but I'd have to really think about third. Third could be like anybody depending on any given day. Yeah, so we got some cool answers. One person replied, I don't know if you told them this, but someone told Jer that that's 4 people. The Mendez brothers, they're 2 people. You can't.
Yeah, I touched base with them. Well,
you can't count them as you just put Mendez bros.
You're gonna get smashed either way. So 3 or 4 doesn't really matter, right?
Mm-hmm. Even though he's not a black belt, Gianni Grippo, man, I've actually want to, do a little trip and maybe stop by and train with that man because
speaking of trips,
I like his style.
Speaking of trips, are you gonna go visit him anytime soon, Gianni Grippo?
Yeah, I'm planning on hopefully. I think I have a little downtime in January. I'm planning on doing a little couple days. Yourself, what month are you aiming for?
I'm aiming for March. I'm going to go visit my friend Marcos Terragrossa.
So I hope you actually follow through with that. I think
follow through, man. Marcos Terragrossa.
Yeah, I think sometimes, taking a trip, getting out of the whole city, going to another country, training at a new dojo, I think these type of experiences really open your eyes. And
to the city? Or?
Yeah, no, just open your eyes, period, about how beautiful jiu-jitsu is in the community. Sometimes I travel and I say, man, this is unreal. And then, sometimes I travel and then I say, I really appreciate our gym and where we do and how we do it. It's kind of cool.
My friend Ruben Avila, big shout outs to you. He's like, if you come down to Marcos' gym, you're definitely going to come back as a beast to your gym.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that, just because you train at one place doesn't mean that you can't, train elsewhere because...
Yeah, when you're traveling, of course, stop by your favorite people
and bring it back to everybody. I think that's
yeah. Or you can be selfish, which is not, and just come back and smash people with those secrets.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell them until I've smashed everybody. But
yeah. Hey, and then you tell them, here's the secret, and
you've improved so much.
Thank you for letting me work that on you. Stop. All right, let's move on. Let's call Thomas Beach in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Our beautiful country.
Can you spell Canada?
No.
No. Can't.
No. CANADA?
What? all you American listeners out there.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's Americans out there right now. They must have heard of Thomas Beach because he might be our best brown belt right now out there in the country. If it's not him, I'm not even. There's a person right now doing the Lloyd Irvin thing. Daniel told us he is actually in there because Thomas got injured. He couldn't go do this Kumite. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how high level Daniel is. But, personally, I've seen Thomas Beach compete. I've had the pleasure of actually doing some drills with him when I went down to T-Dot and did a thing with George Brito for BJJAddictTV.com.
Thomas Beach?
I trained with him, for a very short period of time, but friendly young man.
Can you explain his game?
Well, all the Toronto BJJ guys, they have such a phenomenal game. Like, they're really coming out lately. They've been winning everything. So, when I was there, we were doing De La Hiva. There was a heavy De La Hiva influence. I also had the pleasure of doing Gymnastica. It was off the hook. It was weird. Like, I really enjoyed it, man. Like, I wasn't expecting to enjoy Gymnastica so much. Have you ever seen this or done it?
I've seen Hickson do it.
Yeah. Holy shit. When Hickson did it, or in the Choke documentary, like, his stomach, you know what I mean? Like,
what's the sound again?
You know what I mean, though, right? It was like, it was so goddamn intense.
You need more work on your Gymnastica.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. I tried my best. So, back to Thomas Beach real quick, because I'm not going to bring it up and ask him on the interview, but I saw him fight DJ Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, DJ Jackson has won the worlds at every belt. He recently became a black belt world champion at Gi, and he's only been a black belt for a little while. Thomas Beach lost, like, I don't know if it's advantages or just 2 points. Like, you got to remember a moment like that, right?
Mm.
You all right, Jer?
I am.
What's wrong? Are you in pain? You have a headache?
My leg hurts, man.
Your leg?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Okay, so Thomas Beach?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, if you went the distance and only lost by advantages or points, say 2 points, to to DJ Jackson, that's got to be in your head, right?
Yeah, I don't like losing by advantages, man.
No, advantage your point, but in your head, let's say you just fought the absolute, probably, he's got to be one of the best around right now.
Yeah.
Does that go in your head like, holy shit, I'm close to being at this level?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think, man, it definitely, if I was in his place, man, I would be, I don't know, man, I've never been in that position.
I know, but like, have you ever grappled somebody and then you lost to him and you felt shitty about it, and then you find out that person just got a belt promotion and then they went on to win a high-level tournament at that belt? And you're like, oh, wow, I lost him as a blue and I did really good. I thought...
Actually, yeah, you know, I've had that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, then you start thinking, like, oh, maybe...
I think it gives you more hunger, I think.
Yeah, you're stuck on the word hunger.
Yeah.
Hello? Take a shot every time Jared says hunger. We should have a drinking game.
Hello?
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 Hello, are we speaking to Mr. Thomas Beach?
This is him, yep.
How are you doing? Welcome to the BJJ ADDICT RADIO.
I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent. So you were just finished teaching a class at Toronto BJJ, I assume?
Yeah, just finished, yeah.
Nice. And what were you showing today?
I was showing replacing the guard from the half, closing up the full guard.
Nice. When you're teaching students, is it different when you're at such a high level, or, you know, you are used to training competitions? Is it hard to teach somebody who just there to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu without even thinking about competition? Like, is it hard to cater to everybody?
You know, I don't think it's too difficult, to be honest. I mean, when it comes down to it, whether you're at a high level or not, Jiu-Jitsu
it's based on certain fundamentals, right? So it's pretty easy to pass on. It's similar to the same stuff that you're going to be doing at the advanced level, right? Hello?
Sorry about that. I'm having actually a really hard time hearing now, so I apologize, Thomas. For those who don't know, at home, like we said, you live in Toronto. You're training at Toronto BJJ. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and what has made you stick around to the point where obviously you're in this position teaching and you got your brown belt?
I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for around 5 years. I think that what just kept me in it was having a good gym to train at, having really good people around me, helping me develop as a person, not just in Jiu-Jitsu, having a good professor who really cares, and I think those things just helped me want to stay in the sport, right? Not just developing as an athlete, but as a person as well, you know? I'd have to say that's it.
Getting your black belt, does this at all scare you? For sure in ways. You think of all these great guys out there that you'll have to face, but I'm just taking it as it goes, focusing on the brown belt right now, and when it happens, you know. I'm just going to work hard to do my best in the brown and prepare myself for the black. Yeah. Who are some people that influence your game today? Like, I know when you start, I'm sure you'll have somebody who were like, oh, that guy looks sick, but it really doesn't suit our body type or the way we move. Who are some people that you love now?
That's a tough question. I mean, there's so many great guys that I'm sure I've seen different aspects of jiu-jitsu from. I've tried to take from them or learn from them. But if I had to name one person, maybe because of the simplicity and how well they do with it, is Roger Gracie.
Yeah. Why? Like, Roger Gracie, man, he's such a tremendous practitioner of jiu-jitsu, and he has such a simple game. Do you appreciate the simplicity of BJJ, or are there times you just want to do, a breathtaking, crazy berimbolo?
I mean, I love the fancy stuff in the sense that it's just cool to do, especially if you pull it off. But I mean, in training, I like to fool around with some of the fancy stuff because it's fun. But I think in competition, just you keep it simple and whatever works, right? So I mean, basic closed guard, cross the arm, Roger Gracie style. I think nothing beats that.
I apologize to people at the home listening live. I'm really having some difficulties right now. It happens due to this beautiful modern technology called the internet. It's supposed to help everything, but I'm having a real hard time on my end. So I apologize if I'm ever speaking over you, Thomas. I do not mean to do it whatsoever. What are some things that you would like to accomplish before getting your black belt, and then what are some goals you have set out for yourself as a black belt?
I'm really focusing my very best just to think about the brown belt and what my accomplishment is to win the world is the ultimate goal, and just do whatever I can in the brown. I think by doing that, that'll prepare me for the black belt. So just to really focus on the brown and I think everything will work out that way.
All right, Thomas, I'm really sorry. Is there some last things you'd like to say before we're gonna have to let this one go short? I'm really sorry about this, but some last things you'd like to tell maybe a white belt who might want to quit this sport, because I'm sure we've all been there before. What are some things that he doesn't know what's coming up? You know, through the blues and the purples and the browns. What's the point of even sticking around? Can you let him know some great advice?
I think that it's a long journey, and it can be intimidating sometimes, but not to think so much about the belt, and really just enjoy yourself and just learn and let that stuff come naturally. And I mean, I think that's easier said than done, but just to try and be patient, and through jiu-jitsu, I think you're going to grow a lot as a person, and it's a lot of fun, I think. So if you like to be active and if you like to stay in shape, it's probably not a bad option.
Well, I couldn't agree that it is fun. There's some great things that happen in jiu-jitsu. I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties that we've been having on my end.
No problem.
We would love to talk to you a lot longer. Hopefully, if this doesn't bother you too much, maybe we can have you on another time, and we could have a longer time to speak with you, and hopefully I could hear better. Everyone else listening could hear better. I personally can't, so I apologize about that. I would love to have you back on, Thomas. Good luck in the future, and any last things you'd like to say? Now's the time.
Well, I'd like to say thanks so much for speaking with me, and that's not a problem. I'd always be open to talk to you guys. And if anybody's in the Toronto area, come check out Toronto BJJ. And if you haven't heard of Team Burrito, watch out for it in Canada. I think Team Burrito is going to do great things. So just watch out, and I'm really excited for this upcoming season.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Take care. Hey guys, listening right now, man, this has been the rough last two interviews. It's been very hard for us to hear. It's really frustrating. I want to give you guys the best possible interview that we possibly can. We're going to take a short break. We still have 4 guests left. We're going to log off right now. We're going to fix the problem very quickly. We will come back. I'm hoping for 8:30. So everyone needs a washroom break, some food. We're going to come back and bang out the last 4 better than ever. So tune in, 5-minute break. Trust me, it's going to get better. Thank you very much, guys. 5 minutes. I'll be back.